Hello and welcome back to Really Good Appears, where we chat about and discuss all sorts of movies. My name is Gary O'Brien, and joining me as always for the monthly release recaps, it is my very good friend David Scanlon. Today we're talking about the latest movies of May 2023, so stick around. We hope you enjoy.
I was about to say it's June. It's not June. It's May.
It's May. Yeah, May is come and gone. May movie madness. That's a joke I do. We're recording this kind of late in the day.
Yeah.
I've been out in the sun.
It shows.
Sunstruck. Thank you, David. It's nice. I'm a nice tomatoey red.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to what? This is episode 92. I think now I'm at the point where I want to try and be more descriptive, and I want to paint a picture for the audience. So just imagine David. We all know what David looks like, and just imagine he's sitting beside something that radiates as bright as the sun. That's my face. My face is burnt.
It's not that burnt.
Nah, it's only a
little bit towards the top there.
David, I think the only burning you're going to find on this podcast is me talking about these movies.
Okay.
I'm going to burn some of these movies.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fair.
It's a good month. I liked it.
I was about to say it's been a good month. Best month of the year? We might.
No.
No?
Nah. Look. This is a good one. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. I'm really excited. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Beau is Afraid. Fast X, The Little Mermaid, SISU, and Missing. And I tell you what, David, and I've said it a million times, if people want to jump around, the time codes are there. No spoilers either.
Yeah.
And if people also want to see extended versions of these reviews, you can get on Letterboxd. My Letterboxd profile is in the description, so is David's. And also, if they have any, this is a new feature, by the way. I don't think you've heard about it.
No, yeah. This
on Spotify, that we have a little Q&A thing of hey, what do you think of the podcast? Any questions? So, if you're listening on Spotify, you want to throw anything in, maybe to say what you're excited about for next month, or any thoughts you have in the movies this month, stick them in there. I'll publish it. Because Bradley, shout out to Bradley, by the way. Bradley's one of our listeners, and he's been listening to the last few and liking stuff on the Letterboxd on the Instagram, and just want to give him a shout out because he had a very funny thing on the Spotify. Have you listened to the Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret podcast? Yeah. You remember I gave out about Lily not bringing his book?
Yeah.
Well, Bradley was something he goes, guys, been loving the podcast, really, really good. It's just a shame this one was bad because Lily forgot the book. I was like, good man, Bradley. So if you want to be cool like Bradley, stick something in the Q&A on Spotify.
Does it have to be a Q&A? It just can be a comment?
It's just a comment, and then I can choose to publish it.
Cool.
There you go. So we should probably talk about
sorry, by publishing you mean?
So people comment on it, and then I can see it, and then so they don't go public immediately. I have to say this could be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I thought just by you mentioning it here, I thought that was publishing it, but that's not it.
No, David. The back of house stuff on the podcasting is way more complicated.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of ones and zeros going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of ones and zeros, movies.
It's all just ones and zeros there. I mean, once AI gets its hands on it.
Oh man. Writer's strike. We back you.
Yeah. Yeah. Rightly so.
See, Colin Farrell's out there.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw one of those, The Onion, or some one of those Twitter pages, parody things, did a thing where it was there was a anti-writers protest, or a counter protest, where it was all these billionaires just being like, oh, you want 1% more? Well, guess what? Then we wouldn't have 100%. We'd only have 99%.
And that's just greedy.
Yeah, exactly. It was very funny. But yeah, good to see Colin Farrell out.
Oh,
and who's your man? He's in House of Cards.
Yeah, he's great.
He's one of those character actors.
He's great.
I don't know his name. I'm sorry.
If you know his name, stick it in the
stick
Spotify
it in
Q&A.
Exactly.
We'd love to know.
You dumbass. How do you not know?
All right. Okay. So, like I said, we're talking about a lot of movies this month. Oh, by the way, at the end of this episode, we're going to talk about what's coming out in June as well. So,
not July?
No, June.
We're not going to skip June.
Why would we skip June?
I don't know.
That's a good point, David. We put a pin in that. I think we should just skip months all that time.
And then next month we start talking about December, and then we'll come back to
I think what we should
August.
Blindside and be here's what came out in August 1975.
Oh my god, we could have a little retro corner, a throwback,
and we could all do silly voices. And anyway, this is gonna be a loose podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Right, David, shall we get started?
Yeah.
Shall we start talking about a movie called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
We shall. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we're reintroduced to the Guardians, who are kind of basing themselves out of nowhere. The dead head of a Sentinel.
Yep, Celestial,
sorry. And they are kind of working as protectors of certain individuals that have come to live there. That's what I'm trying to say. But they are kind of at the stage where they were at the end of Endgame. They're kind of reeling from the effects of that, but also we saw a little bit of a glimpse of them in Thor: Love and Thunder. So we're kind of at that stage, but and I suppose the other thing we should mention is the last time we seen them was in the Christmas special on Disney Plus.
Yep.
I wouldn't say there's anything major coming out.
Balls.
Of that.
It's balls.
Yeah. it's like a 30-minute episode of
Oh, by the
special.
way, Disney are our friends at the moment.
Yeah.
And when I said balls, I meant like baubles, like Christmas baubles.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, Disney.
Yeah. So this movie starts with an assassin coming into nowhere, and he attacks all the Guardians, but especially seems to be coming in for Rocket Raccoon. Seems to want to get his hands on him, especially. And in the fight, he's very badly injured. The assassin gets away, but in doing so, during the attack, he's very badly injured, and doing some scans on his body, the rest of the Guardians find out that he has a very sinister backstory, and they have to traverse certain parts of the galaxy to find a way to help their friend and help him recover. So that's pretty much where they're at. Yep.
And what do you think of it?
I had a good time. I think it's straight off the bat, it's definitely not as good as the first one, but I think the first one is just like such a high bar. Much better than the second one.
100%,
I had a much better time than the second one. I think this is a lot more rewatchable. The second one, sorry, I don't think I've rewatched it since I saw it in cinemas. Yeah. And like maybe if I go back and watch it again, I'd have a better time with it. But personally, I thought this was just like fun. It was heartwarming at times. There is some a very sincere and endearing flashback sequences, littered throughout the movie that really, and I know a lot of people seem to really latch onto that piece just from looking at Letterboxd reviews and reviews on the internet and stuff like that. Really well made. Everyone seems to do a good job. I don't think there's anyone that, apart from one very major character who doesn't do a good job, but the rest, the Guardians, I think is where the where it's really at. Like, everyone seems to do a good job that's on the team. The team has kind of widened since Endgame, or even since
you normally do after Christmas, packing on those pounds.
Exactly, yeah. But there's a number of different individuals that have joined the team, different number of people that have left and stuff like that. So that's interesting to see certain characters interacting with each other. And I guess that's another thing I loved about this movie, is just you get to see each member of the team interact with others that you wouldn't. It's a bit like seeing Avengers and just different teams and different members interact with each other. Story was good. I think they were trying to probably balance two different plot lines. You had mentioned that James Gunn obviously had two ideas.
I think there's three ideas in this movie, but as it's his last Marvel movie, I feel like he tried to wrap up a lot of the ideas he had for the Guardians and the characters associated with it.
But in saying that, I think plot number one, I think they put a lot into it, and it rightly so. I think it's based around one very important character, and I think that's rightly so. They deserve to kind of have their story told.
It's Rocket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There is other characters in this movie that have been introduced previously who you kind of just get a little bit more of an idea of what that character is, but probably not enough for me. But I don't think it took away from especially plot A, which was, again, I really enjoyed it. And it didn't take away from the rest of the movie. Personally, I just had, again, a blast with this. And thank you very much to Disney for letting us go to the preview screening.
And as much as I wish I could pretend I was being biased about it as a joke, this was a very good movie. And I think there's two or three things about it for me, which is, one, I think it does a very good job of capping off the trilogy of those movies. Like you said, two isn't fantastic, but I don't think it's bad per se. Like you said, the first one set such a high bar that it's always hard to follow that up. So I think it tops off the trilogy pretty good. I think it's the best Marvel movie in a while.
Yeah,
for sure. And again, maybe that's not too much of a high bar to beat.
Well, see, this is the thing. I think that there has been some Marvel movies more recently which I don't think we've enjoyed as much, but I think, for example, Black Panther 2, I think some people may have enjoyed that more than we have, which is fair enough, but I think this is just more of an all-rounder.
And also Guardians is more our vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
And my third point about this movie, David, it's so fucking gross. It's the grossest movie. It's just... So we went to this, and we went and I remember I was sitting beside a woman who was with, I assume it was her daughter, if not Jesus, what the fuck happened there? And
also in front of us there was a young child, a younger.
But it was only because every time something happened, you could just see the mother turning to her daughter to make sure she was right. It's so dark. Yeah. It's so disturbing. It's so twisted. And when I say this, obviously I don't mean like R-rated stuff. I just mean like it pushes the boundary of PG-13. Yeah. So a lot of this movie, I was like, are you like getting away with this? Like, there's one scene in particular. It's not too much of a spoiler. Of like Rocket like scratching at a guy, and it's visceral. Yeah. They go to a planet that's like made of living organism. Yeah. There's like there's a couple of DNA sequences where they have to make things, and it's gross. Yeah. It's such a gross movie. And James Gunn, between the Suicide Squad, I'm not going to spoil that if you haven't seen it, because it's a great thing at the end of that. And then if you've seen Peacemaker as well, there's another element of that that's so gross. He's just such a gross man, David. Yeah. And like, look, well, I don't mean from like any of the tweets he makes, I mean from what he puts on film. Yeah. Gross.
His signature style. I don't know. It didn't. Personally, it just didn't affect me. I think the fact that you're sitting beside someone like that, I think.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I think I was more conscious of it because I could see her kind of reacting to the scenes. But like, they swear a lot in it as well. Yeah. I guess
the first F-bomb in
which
MC.
I think was,
I don't know, it was
balls.
Fun. See, that's the thing.
I mean, Christmas baubles.
It seemed to be more of just kind of an outtake. Well,
see, apparently it wasn't. Apparently it was just Chris Pratt said it and they decided to put it in the movie. Yeah. Whatever.
Probably just kind of getting some hype behind it or something. Yeah.
Now, what I will say is, it's not a perfect movie by any means. The runtime is a bit bloated. There were times where I felt a bit slowed down because they do a lot of planet hopping that you feel like there's one that whole living organism planet. I feel like you could take that out and it would, like, it is a very fun sequence, but I don't think it detracts from the story too much, other than the fact that James Gunn gets to put all his friends in the movie. Yeah. And two, I think the villain was weak sauce.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, for me, he really took away, especially towards the end, any kind of sinister elements that you built up. Like, he kind of becomes a bit of a mess towards the end. And I don't know if it was direction or if it was the actor.
Now, I've seen that actor before. He's in Peacemaker, and he's great in Peacemaker. Yeah. And apparently he's a Shakespearean actor, so I imagine he has to do a lot of soliloquies and whatnot. But he turns into a shouting mess by the end of this movie. Like, it's almost like, it's just so shouty, screamy. Yeah. And I can't pronounce his surname. It's like Chuck Woody... I can't do the surname. I'm so sorry. Chuck.
His name is actually
CHUKWUDI.
Don't know.
Anyway, this lad, great actor. Yeah. Like you say, the
not
direction,
the right role. I don't know.
Or they like just took out. They just kept, because there's a whole thing about him trying to play God effectively, and that's a really interesting. It's a really interesting premise, and you can understand his motives more than other Marvel villains. Yeah. It's just like you say, something gets lost halfway through the movie, and you just kind of like, wait, why is this guy just shouting at a lot of people now? I don't really get
it. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Anything else that I didn't?
Yeah. Sorry. No,
sorry.
You said there was a character or an actor you didn't like.
Oh, sorry. I was going to mention Will Poulter as Adam Warlock, which I don't know if that's a spoiler. Probably, yeah.
No, he's in the trailer.
In the trailers, okay. And again, actually, I think there are moments with him that are, number one, I think really funny. Mm-hmm. And number two, I think just some of the scenes of him actually doing some action stuff was pretty cool. He just doesn't get enough time on screen. No. I think he was kind of just that shoehorned kind of cameo character. Interested to see what comes next. You can see him being that type of character that, okay, this is him in that evolutionary stage when he becomes that kind of omnipotent being that we've seen in say comic books and stuff like that. It would be interesting to see. So, but as I mentioned, some very funny lines in this. There's, especially at the start, there was one line where we were just
that's a very David and Gary joke. Though. I feel like no one else picked up on that. But like you say, overall, I think it was great. Just like, it's a nice emotional movie. Yeah. It's just kind of the ultimate representation of like, it's the family you make, because none of these guys had any connections to each other, and to see where Peter Quill goes from volume 1 to volume 3. Zoe Saldana's Gamora, obviously very interesting developments there because of Endgame, but even like Rocket, Groot especially, David, from a physical point of view.
We forgot to mention that.
David, don't you worry, I'm an expert at this. I know how to segue. Well, you had a very funny joke after this.
What people will notice if they've seen the movie is that Groot is a lot like thicker in this movie. He's a lot more swole.
Bulkier.
So we assume that Vin Diesel, went to the art direction or the what would you say, the
VFX guy,
VFX guy, and asked, if Groot could be a bit more swole.
Is there any chance? I don't know. Make him enough. Sorry, what's my Vin Diesel? My Vin Diesel Sylvester Stallone. This is hey, is there any chance he could be like swole? And like, can we put him in instead of a spaceship, could we put him in like a Mustang Charger? And instead of like,
can we put some nos in there?
What instead of a tree, what if he was like nos and like drinking Corona? Family.
And what if they had a barbecue?
Why don't the Guardians ever have a barbecue? What's Groot's sister doing?
Yeah.
By the way, I just want to make a quick point. If people are sick of that impression, we still have to talk about Fast X.
Yeah, there's still another one to come.
Hey.
But yeah, and you know what? Actually, I really liked Groot in this. He's not in a huge amount of it. He's a bit of a side character. Comes into it towards the end, but there's a very sweet scene at the end between him and Gamora, which I enjoyed.
That was very good. James Gunn writes those scenes so well. He knows how to sprinkle things throughout a movie to give that emotional payoff. And actually, sorry, the last thing. Speaking of music, because that's the one thing Guardians always know. For. What do you think?
Probably
don't ruin the last song.
No.
That's all I ask.
The one thing I would say, it wasn't as memorable as probably the
100%.
first one.
Yeah.
But when you're watching it, it's just a nice little beat.
There's two songs in particular. The one where Adam Warlock is introduced to. Love that. There's some great memes about that online. We're about a month late to those, by the way. And the scene where they kind of jump onto that living planet thing is very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think the last song worked fantastically though.
Exactly.
But yeah, like look, I think it's a nice Marvel movie because it doesn't try and set up too much. It's just like a good...
Yeah, it's funny. It doesn't set up, but I'm like interested to see where that team goes. Like at the end. Yeah, very interested. And then go on. Sorry.
Don't stay if you haven't seen it. Don't stay for the last end credit scenes. Pointless.
Yeah.
Pointless.
Yeah.
Literally go onto Google or any other streaming service, any other web browser, and just read it. And that's just as good.
Yeah, that's fair.
What do I have? Oh, I actually do have this next. Fast X.
Oh, Fast X is next.
We go right into it.
Fast X is next.
Fast X is next, David. But yeah, anything else on Guardians actually for you?
No, worth a look. That's all I'll 100%.
Say. Okay, yeah, so Fast X, David. It's my turn, is it? Wow, why did I give myself this movie? I think it's because I actually like this more than you did, which is very strange. I watched 6, 7, and 8 the week before this, so I was kind of primed and ready to go. So I could explain this to you, but you're going to think I'm talking about any of the other movies. So Dom thinks he's in the clear. He's having a good time with his family. Everything's going well. And then all of a sudden, the relative of someone from his past who he has, wronged, is now come out of the blue and is looking to get revenge on Dom. And Dom has to get everyone together to try and stop this person. Yeah. Is the simple way of putting it.
Yeah.
But I think if I was to explain it ever so slightly more, which is Dom is now being harassed or attacked by the guy from the 5th Fast and Furious' son, who we didn't know had a son, but now he's a son. He's played by Jason Momoa, and he is now doing a very good job of kind of separating and attacking the Fast family and really putting Dom to the test and making the family so spread out that you don't know how they're ever going to overcome it. Because spoiler alert, you don't, because there's a cliffhanger in this movie. I just need to tell people there's a cliffhanger.
That's fair.
Everything in this movie is not resolved.
Yeah.
It's really important you know that.
Yeah.
But what does get resolved is your sense of childhood wonder and the thrills of seeing a big rolling ball go through Rome, David. It's beautiful. This movie makes no sense, but I had a great time watching it. It's so stupid dialogue. It's so stupid physics. Yeah. But it does it so... What's the word? Just shamelessly.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like you know what you're getting. I think it's as bad as the other ones.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely on par with. I think it's on par with 7, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't think it has the same emotional drama to it. But then again, I think that's only heightened because of real life events with Paul Walker's death.
Yeah, right. So.
But that's what. Yeah. Whereas I think this one, what's good about this movie? What's bad about this movie? Like I said, what's good about it is just bombastic action.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as the last one.
Yeah, what I would say is there anything in this we haven't, well, I suppose apart from that rolling ball, is there anything we haven't seen in previous movies?
Family. No, no, my biggest thing about this movie, and I think it's more different to any others, is its cast is too spread out.
Yeah.
They're not all together, and the movie just kind of chops and changes, and you're like, oh, you spend 2 minutes with these people and they're in Portugal. Then in 2 minutes you're in fucking Antarctica with these people. Then 2 minutes later you're back in London, and it's weird that those are the scenes that give me the spins rather than the fast car chase.
Yeah. And like, I feel like there are people that can do that well. There are directors, there are writers that can do that type of narrative quite well, where you have a team spread out and you're jumping from one place to the other.
Yeah.
I just don't think, number one, I don't think this franchise calls for that type of a storyline, especially when you're talking so much about family and being together and working hard together or whatever. Like, but yeah, in another sense, it's probably that kind of thing of the villain being, you know, divide and conquer and stuff like that.
And also, I think as well, like, there is elements of this, so it's not too much of a spoiler. So Vin Diesel kind of spends a lot of the movie
on his own.
Yeah. He's not with his family. And John Cena's with Dom's kid. Yeah. Loved that relationship, by the way. John Cena plays a completely different character than the last one. He just plays real life John Cena, but he's great in it. Then you've got like a team of like Ludacris, Tyrese, what's his name? Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah.
An actress's name who I do forget, Natalie Emmanuel.
Yeah.
And
you don't know their characters' names.
Ramsey.
Han, yeah.
Han, who's played by Sung
Kang.
Roman Pierce and Tej Parker. So they're like one team, and they're like the weakest team because you kind of, one, you don't know what they're doing, and two, none of them kind of are charismatic to kind of hold the screen time like Vin Diesel is, or like Michelle Rodriguez and Charlize Theron, who's a different team, not too much of a spoiler, like I said, or John Cena, for example. So it's very choppy and changey like that, and you don't really understand the story at times, but like I said, it is, I don't know, I found myself having a good time with it. You rolled your eyes.
No, like, I absolutely, if you, like, you can go into the cinema and enjoy this, but there was just some more like egregious moments in this than in previous. Like the choppy editing really got to me. At one stage, you literally just go from one character back to another character, back to the previous character you've just been with. And I think, like, if they had just spent a bit more time, like, storyboarding and doing it, but as I said, you know what you're getting into with these movies. So
but also I think what you have to remember is that the director changed hands like 7 days before. We haven't even done the whole thing. Ooh, we haven't even done that. My God, look at us showing intense restraint. But the director changed. But also you have to ask yourself as well, like, why are you introducing characters like Brie Larson's character and that other guy's name who I don't have here, Alan Richardson. So like they're in it, but like not enough to warrant enough like reason to like spend time with them.
Exactly. The one question I had was Kurt Russell.
Yeah. He was
in or out?
He's just busy, I'd say, or just
because like I feel like that could have resolved the Brie Larson thing. Like,
I'd say he was busy, so they just got Brie Larson and then she's playing his daughter because everyone's family. David.
Exactly, yeah. So things I enjoyed. I think the number one, the action is decent. There are some bits that are cool or whatever, but again, I don't think it's enough that we haven't seen, you know, in previous incarnations of this franchise, but also in other, you know, franchises or whatever. I suppose the big thing for me was Jason Momoa. He seems to be just having such a good time with his character, and I know you mentioned that he just seems to be playing his version of the Joker.
Because he's auditioning for Lobo.
Yeah, he's just doing pure chaos. Like, that's his thing. Now, most of the time it works. Sometimes some things fall flat or whatever. But I had a good time watching it. He's a bit silly and
like, it's just because you just asked me earlier, Gary, do we have to do the podcast today? But also you'd asked me, you'd said, like, what have we seen? What's in this that we haven't seen in the others? And we've just seen just a campy Batman villain, whereas everyone else, like, I'm big and strong and I'm gonna beat for when it's the not Lee Evans. I always do that. Luke Evans. Jason Statham, The Rock, Charlize Theron, but like technically Vin Diesel in that movie is like the big bad. John Cena. It's always the big muscly dude, and this is a big muscly dude, but he's like wearing like big blouses and like, but like it doesn't take away from the danger or anything like that. Time, like he's always a threat. But he's having a great time with it, and I think, and regardless of how this movie ends, which I won't spoil,
story ends.
If he comes back for the second one, I'd be really interested to see what they kind of continue on with his character.
Well, he's either going to die or he's going to join the team.
Like, realistically, he has to join the team. Exactly. If he hasn't already, no spoilers. So yeah, I thought he was great, and like I saw someone said it where it's like if Vin Diesel's like the Batman, with his son as Robin, Jason Momoa is the Joker.
my final thing I will mention, and I didn't rewatch any of the movies, but I did watch a couple of videos, like recaps and stuff. Shout out to the Weekly Planet boys who do Caravan of Garbage on these. Some great recaps there. But
don't tell people to not listen. Yeah, don't tell people that exists.
But it's just very funny to see that there's some things they kind of point out in the other movies. I'd love to see different team members work with each other.
In what way?
So, like, for example, have a team with Han, Michelle Rodriguez's character, and John Cena. That'd be a weird dynamic, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just remembered something from this movie I need to scream about.
Or, like, I don't know, Ramsey, Vin Diesel, his kid, and Brie Larson. Just like,
I feel, yeah, I understand.
But like, I feel like every single time we watch these movies, it's Tej, it's
Roman trying to hit on your one Ramsey,
and they get
4 movies of jokes from that.
Yeah, and exactly. And there's just so many characters.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like if you jumbled it up, it would make it more interesting. Like, you seeing the dynamic between different characters.
I also think as well, my last thing of this movie, I have two more things.
Sorry,
go
ahead.
I
was just going to say, the one thing is, it's so obvious when you compare it to, say, Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all my final point. Yes.
No, I have 2 things which I wanted to just say. 1, the camera work I thought was great in this movie, especially the character chases. 2, there's so much fat in this when you consider it as 2 movies. Like, when you consider, like, it's setting up the second movie to, like, be like a 2-parter.
This is Infinity War. It's like,
it's just like, there's parts of this you're like, was that necessary? Like, there's a whole scene with Han having a muffin.
Yeah.
And that's never paid off again. So I think if you were to watch the 2 back to back, you'd kind of see shit like this and be like, I'm spending 5 hours here.
Yeah.
What is the point of including this? So there's just shit like that. And yeah, I think, sorry, I'm just reading my notes here and I keep coming across things like, there's no stakes, there's no dangers.
Say Roman and Tej have a fight in this.
Oh my God.
And then they make up. But like, what's the chances they have another fight in the next movie?
See, they're fighting badly in it.
Yeah.
But yet we see them kicking people's ass later on. So
exactly.
it's just like, it's wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, look, as I said, it's Fast and Furious. It's 10.
Yeah.
It's the 11th movie in this franchise.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're getting into at this stage, I think it's your fault.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So, but yeah, look, we had a good time.
I had a fun time, yeah.
It's just not good.
Yeah, that's
you have to tell the people.
David, shall we move on to the next movie?
Yeah.
Which is called Are You There, God? It's Me, I'm Margaret.
Is it? Is your name Margaret?
It is, yeah. Before I let you talk, actually, I think it's important to tell people that there is a full episode on this, a full 50-odd minute episode on this of me and Lily talking about it.
It's very good.
Thank you.
A lot of insights into the book.
There you go.
Some things I didn't know.
There you go. But, what you call it? So yeah, that's all there. So I'm not going to talk anyway, but I probably will find ways to talk anyway.
Oh, of course. You're going to interrupt me as
actually,
soon as you find
cut you off there, David. But no, I just thought I'd include it here to say it did come out in May. People should absolutely go see it if they get a chance. But David, what did you think of this movie?
Yeah. Okay. So, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is a coming of age story about a young girl who is coming into kind of the early teens and is starting to find out kind of about puberty and stuff like that and important elements of growing up. She has moved from New York to New Jersey and so is trying to integrate into a new school system with new friends and stuff like that. That's probably all you need to say.
Yeah.
Well worth a watch. Mm-hmm. It is so sweet, so endearing. As like yourself and Lily would have mentioned, some very important topics. I know you weren't a huge fan of the religious element of it, but I like that conflict in it, and I can understand because I know people like that are very religious.
Because I'm one, David.
Because you would.
I'm the religious person.
Oh yeah,
that's why I didn't like the religious element.
Yeah, this is why we have to do that on a Sunday evening and not a Sunday morning.
Yeah, exactly. I'm busy.
Yeah, performances are all good. I know you didn't like Benny Safdie.
David, I think it's and I want to make this clear because I got some guff about this.
Oh, right. People got onto you.
I have no problem with Benny Safdie as a director or an actor.
Yeah.
I'm merely questioning the universe in which he...
So you're just saying it's unrealistic?
What's he doing married to Rachel McAdams?
I was going to say that. That's the biggest thing in this movie is... Rachel McAdams is not a mother.
She's not. Thank you. Thank you so much.
She's not.
Yeah.
But she is brilliant in this.
Also, I want to make a quick point on Benny Safdie.
Yeah.
And David, remember, I have nothing to say about this movie, but I have a quick point on Benny Safdie.
Yeah.
It was announced recently that the next Safdie Brothers movie with Adam Sandler, Benny Safdie's not working on it.
Oh, so someone Did you? So someone got
All
someone
I'm saying
heard
is- all
your
I'm saying
opinion
is-
and was like, we need a bin.
All I'm saying, Josh is the other one, isn't it?
Josh Safdie, yeah.
I think Josh is just saying to himself, like, yeah, why do I want this Benny Laddler around?
Exactly. The only thing, is there anything I want to really highlight?
Cast, like you say.
Cast, very good. The biggest thing in it, no, I won't spoil anything actually, because just go in and watch it. It's actually fantastic. You mentioned in actually your podcast, you said in a weaker year,
Rachel
McAdams could get an Oscar. I think as of now, she's right up there.
It's too early to say. But
I know, yeah, but like as of now, and I think definitely supporting actor. Has she ever been nominated before?
No. I came out with a bold statement on the podcast. This is great. We should do this more often, where I get to like talk about the mistakes I make in other podcasts.
Exactly.
Like, I was like, she's not even in a big movie. Why is she not? She was in Spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm such a moron. I was like, it's weird she's not in like a big Oscar. Yeah, won Best Picture.
She's been in other ones as well. She's in like...
No, but you know what I meant.
Okay, yeah. She's not regularly.
That's what I mean. I said, like, I feel like she's not appreciated for her dramatic work.
Okay, yeah, fair. Yeah.
Watch me walk back on that next week, which could be an Electra podcast or not. Who knows?
Yeah. No, look, I won't say anything more. It's absolutely fantastic. Well worth a watch. It's the type of movie now that the studio obviously had faith in it, because it not only did they gave you a screening or a preview screening. It's been out in, say, like our local cinemas, getting like preview screenings, like multiple preview screenings. So obviously the studio has big faith in this. So yeah, absolutely well worth the watch. Funny, kind of silly at times, heartwarming and endearing, all that kind of stuff that we're well used to seeing in those types of coming of age stories.
Yep.
And especially if you like Edge of 17, you'll enjoy this.
Yep.
Yep.
Owen didn't, by the way.
Well, he's wrong.
Thank you. Shall we talk about the next movie, David?
Can't wait.
It's called SISU.
SISU.
You didn't go see this. You haven't seen this yet.
No, I've missed it. You know me, I'm against digging for gold.
I've always said this about you, David. It's so annoying, actually. So everyone knows I'm busy Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoons, I love going down, doing a bit of panning, trying to find a bit of gold.
Yeah.
And you're so against it.
No.
It's just like, why can't we spend quality time digging for gold together, David?
It's not good for the planet, Gary.
Yeah. But also, I think it's because you went out with that woman who was a gold digger.
Exactly.
She took your money, David, when you were in need. Oh,
Yeah,
my God. Anyway.
I'll never recover from that.
No.
Near my bank account. Near my bank account.
Yeah. Jacinta. Anyway, SISU, David, for anyone that doesn't know, including yourself, it's basically about World War II in Finland, like it's 1944. The Nazis are losing the war, but yet I guess the directive for much of their troops were to kind of continue taking over these countries. But a lot of the soldiers kind of knowing it was coming to the end of the war, and they were kind of just knowing they were going to be put on trial and trying to make a good life for them afterwards. So we meet this character who has a name, who I forget, and he is kind of a lone ranger in a way. We just see him out in the kind of Finnish wilderness and he's just digging for gold, and he finds gold. Good man him. However, he is kind of on his horse, traveling back towards Finland. I don't know. He's in a direction, and he comes across these Nazi soldiers, and they decide to let him go. They decide to let him pass because they're like, "Look, he's on the way. Like, all of our troops are down there anyway. He's going to die." He comes across another kind of van of Nazis, I guess, and they stop him, attack him, and try to steal his gold. And he stops them from doing that, alerting the troops that were up ahead, and it then becomes a chase between the Nazis trying to hunt down this guy and his gold. But as much of a simple task as you would think that would be for a squadron, or whatever you call it, a tank, a van, and maybe a couple of jeeps of Nazis versus one man and a horse, becomes an impossible task of fighting a man who is more myth than more legend or myth than man, and has ingenious and inventive and shocking ways of picking these soldiers off one by one. It is John Wick, but in World War II Finland. And whereas I turned to John during the movie, and I was very proud of this, I was like, more like John Pick, because he's a big pick for getting gold, David. Look,
sticking in people's eyes.
You've seen the movie. Yeah, it's very violent. It's full of like outrageous action scenes. If you thought Fast and Furious was bad, there's some scenes in this where you're like, fuck off. The movie is fine. Like, those scenes are the best.
Yeah.
However, I think where the movie falls down slightly is we don't hear this guy speak at all for the whole movie. It's very much this, like I said, Lone Ranger. You don't really know what's going through his head, but we hear from other characters that, they find his dog tags, and I was like, oh, this is the legend of Finland. He was known for killing off all these people. So we kind of hear about him through other characters. And it has very like stylistic shots, and it's all done very cinematically. So there's times where it's taking itself very seriously. But then you have like guys getting killed with landmines in very silly ways. So the audience I was with didn't really know when to laugh, didn't know if that was shocking or not. I found it very funny, but it was very discomforting not to have other people around me laugh. That's all I mean. So I think maybe with a different screening, I might have enjoyed it a bit more. But yeah, it's shocking. It always escalates like a good John Wick movie. It is fun, outlandish, creative. I would recommend people do not watch the trailer because there's a lot of stuff spoiled in that. The performance of the guy whose name I really should get is very good. He is like, I don't know what age he is, but he's getting on. But he kind of continues that trend of older actors like Liam Neeson or Bob Odenkirk kind of being an action star. His name is Jorma Taumila. He's great. Very, very good. And the movie's obviously held up by him and his performance because he has to do a lot of face acting and also a lot of physical acting. It is directed by a guy called Jalmari Helander, who did a movie called Rare Exports, which I would also recommend for people who like a good fucked Christmas movie. It is a horror movie. It's a comedy. It's very fucked. It's only an hour and 20, but not one to watch with the family. And a lot of the people who are in that come into SISU as well. It's in English, but it's a Finnish production, I think. And look, I hesitate to recommend it to everyone because, like I said, the tone is a bit inconsistent and you're either there for the action or you're not. But my God, it's an hour and a half. If you're sitting at home looking for something fun to watch on Netflix or whatever streaming service it comes to, I'd highly recommend it for that.
Black and white?
Nope.
No, it's cut out. No, because I thought when I watched the trailer it was black and white. Yeah. I'm actually interested to see it.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to seeing it in cinemas.
But yeah, no, I told you to go see it instead of what you saw today, but
yes. Oh yeah.
Do we have time for a Tell You What I Saw the Other Day?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, let's do it then. Tell you what I saw the other day. So what did you see the other day, David?
The King of Comedy.
The King of Comedy?
The King of Comedy. The King of Comedy.
What? We haven't talked about this properly yet. How good is that movie?
It's so good.
There's nothing I have. There's a secret part. Like, I watch a lot of movies. It's well known.
Yeah.
But, like, there's something about me being like, Dave, you should watch this. And you're like, oh, get to it. Yeah. And then when I see you've watched it and it gives a good rating, I was like, I knew I was right. I knew I was right to badge you about this. And I saw you gave this 5 stars. Like, yes, brother.
It's, this is like, it's like a movie about the American dream. And, like, just being so sure of yourself and just being like, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
And being so sure of yourself that you're also a psychopath.
Martin Scorsese directs. Yeah. Robert De Niro stars. The heavy inspiration for the movie Joker.
Yeah. It's probably the best role I've seen Robert De Niro ever do.
That's a bold statement.
I know it is, but like, it's just there's so much of him just being an old grumpy man, and here he's the person badgering the old grumpy man.
That's true. He's very Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis, yeah. Absolutely.
What's it about?
It's okay. So it's this aspiring comedian, or I don't know. He's not even a comedian. He's an entertainer, and Jerry Lewis is kind of that talk show host. He's
Johnny Carson.
Yeah, he's made it. He's made it, and he has his own show on cable network or whatever. And Robert De Niro's character just wants his chance, so he keeps kind of badgering at him. Come on, just he catches him outside his show when he's leaving in his limo and manages to get in contact, and then he finds out where his offices are, and he just keeps turning up at the offices with the and the secretaries are there just like, no, like he's actually not here. If you want to go home, he's like, no, I'll wait, and he just waits in the waiting room, and it's just like, that it's such a surefiredness of like the American psyche of just like, nah, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait.
My biggest thing to watch is I was like, he'd 100% have a podcast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like if he was around now. And I'm very proud of my Letterboxd reviews that like young people these days with their TikToks, their Instagrams, YouTubes, they don't understand back in the day how much work you actually had to put in to become famous. You just had to badger away at some talk show host you might have walked into on Fifth Avenue or whatever. It actually is, because it's so good. It's been one of those movies for such a long time. I'm like, what? How good could it be? It can't be really that good.
It's very good.
It's so good, and the ending is incredible. I'm not gonna say anything. The ending is incredible.
So good. What you watching on, David?
I watched it on Disney Plus.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Tell you what I saw the other day. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. So I got Amazon Prime recently, so a lot of my suggestions this month are from Amazon, unfortunately. But Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, it's the Guy Ritchie's kind of first well-known movie, I guess. And I don't much to say about it. It's just a classic Guy Ritchie of a load of storylines, a of a load of different people. You have no idea how they're connected, but all of a sudden as the movie goes on, this guy's an enemy to this guy, but then he comes across another guy and then they have to become friends. So I think my review of this movie was something like the enemy of well, you know how the saying goes, the enemy of my enemy, of their enemy, of his enemy, of her enemy, of that enemy is my friend, but also my enemy. It's a classic Guy Ritchie, just like convoluted interweaving of different storylines. It's got Jason Statham in it, it's got Dexter Fletcher in it, it's got Vinnie Jones in it as well, Sting. The police is in it. It's just a load of fun. It's on Disney Plus. Sorry, no, it's on Amazon Prime. It's well worth the watch. If you like Guy Ritchie movies, this is like
better or worse than Snatch.
I went into Snatch with a lot of expectations, and then I went into this with lower expectations because I heard Snatch was the better one. So I think I enjoyed this more than Snatch. Yeah. But I think Snatch is probably better, but I had more fun with this.
Yeah, Snatch is great.
Yeah.
I'm getting to it.
I can't wait for you to give it 5 stars and be like, justified.
I know I'm probably going to give it 5 stars. It's just finding the time.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you watch anything else?
Tell you what I saw the other day. I watched Turner and Hooch for the first time.
Any good?
Yeah, it's very sweet.
No,
I know you don't like dogs.
Dogs and sweet?
Yeah.
Also, the statement of I don't like dogs needs to be clarified. I don't dislike dogs.
I don't know. I think you'll like. You'd probably like Tom Hanks' character because he's a bit like you.
Oh.
The OCD, like.
Oh, yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Does he have a podcast?
No.
Boo.
He's a co-op. No, it's just a fun time. It's one of those movies again. It's just kind of family fun.
There you go. Speaking of Disney Plus, that's Disney Plus.
Yep.
A movie called An Education. I had so little expectations of this movie. This was one of the ones that got nominated in 2009 after they increased the number of Best Picture nominees. So I just saw it in there and I was like, what the fuck is that? But it is a movie that is basically about this young girl who is top of her class, going to Oxford. Alfred Molina plays her dad. It's Carey Mulligan is the daughter. And basically she's killing it. And all of a sudden this older gentleman comes into her life and then shows her the shiny... the life that she could have if she was with him, but it would kind of mean sacrificing some of the studies she's making. And it's a very kind of not interesting commentary, but it's a very interesting story of like how, because it's kind of set in, I feel like it's like the 40s, 50s, maybe like 50s, I don't know, it's set olden times, and basically just about like how a woman's education, if you will, could be sacrificed for security. Like how much should she sacrifice her own pursuit of profession and career,
so
if
you're
it
saying,
means security.
Should she go study or should she go gold digging?
Exactly, and you know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the Best Picture nominated, and I had a great time with it. It's written, directed by some really interesting people. No, it's based on a memoir article by some journalist, and then it was made into the movie. And it stars Rosamund Pike in it as well. It stars what's his name, Dominic Cooper as well.
Who's the main character?
Peter Skarsgård is also in it as well. It's on Disney Plus. It's a nice, fun watch. Not fun, but it's I had a good time.
It's worth the watch.
It's worth the watch.
Yeah.
Anything else for yourself?
No, I think that's probably it. I've seen some other stuff. Road to Perdition, worth to watch. It's a bit grim.
I don't like that movie at all.
Lion. Actually, no, sorry, Lion's not on thing anymore. Breakfast at Tiffany's is the other one.
On Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. We have to mention Paramount Plus.
We do. I have one more.
Yeah.
And you give me shtick every month. You're like, Gary, how come we don't pick anything? You've seen it In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah.
So I watched that. It's on Amazon Prime. It is a very fun time.
It's fantastic.
It's basically about this guy who is accused of a crime in the Deep South, and I assume it's the Deep South because everyone is sweating profusely.
I think it's like Alabama or something.
Yeah, and he's accused of this crime of some big shot in this like kind of local town has been murdered, and he's picked up. Sidney Poitier plays him. Won an Oscar for this role. The movie actually won Best Picture as well, and he's picked up for this because he's black. And then all of a sudden, there's a twist. Turns out he might be a bit more helpful to the case than initially thought. And it's just about him working to prove his innocence, I guess, in a way, but also try and catch this killer. And there's a lot of conflict between him and the kind of sheriff of the town, who's played by an actor who has a name.
No, give him his name.
Yeah,
he won Best Actor. He'd be won Best Supporting Actor as well, I think. I can't remember.
Also, Ray Charles soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was directed by a guy called Norman Jurison, and the guy who plays the sheriff is Police Chief Bill Giuseppe, is played by Rod Steiger. He is very good. Very, very good. The two of them have a fantastic dynamic in it as well. But yeah, look, it probably doesn't hold up because it was like a movie about like what's 67, so a while back. The story, it's been told a million times now at this point, but there's a great quality to it, from the acting, from the the great depiction of some of the kind of types of characters you see in these movies is very good. Yeah. There's like a diner owner, and there's some of the other people who work in the police station as well. Yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. I could see. I'd say definitely give it a watch if you can. As a nice classic, sit down with a bit of popcorn and watch it kind of thing.
So my biggest thing about this movie is like we talk about these days the likes of movies. What am I trying to think? It's movies like Green Book, where it's that. This would never happen, one white person and a black person working together. Whereas like I feel like this is a type of movie where they've done it so well. Like they don't like each other, but they know they can help each other and stuff like that. And it's just one of those classic movies. As you say, great soundtrack, great story. I think the conspiratorial element to it as well was really good, and him, especially investigating certain members of the community, and it's certain reactions he gets when he introduces himself.
Now, David, if he was to introduce himself, what would he say?
Sorry.
What would he say if he was to introduce himself?
They called me Mr. Tibbs.
Tibbs,
yeah.
That's like, yes, that's like the people would probably know the line, but not what movie it's in.
Exactly, Sidney Poitier, absolute legend.
Yeah. If you want to give that a go, I would recommend that as well. But shall we get back to...
Sorry, wait, where was that on?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, Amazon Prime, cool.
But shall we get back to
the
movie months? So these next three movies is probably the most interesting part of the podcast, because it's two movies that me and David David hasn't put up his Letterboxd review, so I have no idea what he thinks of two of them, and one of them is a movie I haven't seen. So so let's save the two controversial ones to the end. Let's get because I talked a bit about SISU. Tell me a bit about Missing.
Okay, Missing is this new it's kind of like found footage, but it's found technology screenshots,
screen recordings.
And it is very similar to the movie that's on Amazon Prime now. It's called Searching, made by the editors of that movie. They've gone on to direct this. So it's about a girl who we're introduced at the start that has lost her father. They've moved house, or they moved kind of from somewhere around the mid-America or whatever out to California. She's living there with her mom and her mom's new boyfriend. And they've decided that they're going to go on holidays and leave her at home on her own. I think it must be like the first time she's, I think she might be 17 or 18 or something like that, later time in school. So they go off on holidays. She parties for 1 week solid.
Nice.
That was the one thing I couldn't get my head around. I was like, nah, if you're hungover, you need to relax.
Because she just 17.
Goes, yeah, I know.
She's got
exactly.
a youthful liver,
yeah,
David.
Exactly. But she goes to pick up her man, her boyfriend, from the airport, after a week. And
David, are they missing?
Yeah.
Oh, so, it's like the name of the movie.
They don't come back or whatever. So she decides that she has to do this investigation herself and try and get in contact with people, whether it be in the hotel that they were staying in, members of the ambassador who work in, where were they again? Colombia. One of those countries. I can't remember. I think it was Colombia. But she has to do this investigation herself. That's all I will say. Number one, well worth the watch. I think this is going to be a new type of cinema that we see.
It's not a bit gimmicky.
It is. I really went in with the concept that this is a gimmick. I'm not this is gonna go over my head, or I'm really not gonna enjoy this. I actually really enjoyed it, because there's some bits where you think it's real life and they zoom out and you don't really know what you're watching, what's real life, what's not. I think number two, I think the story was really good. There's one bit I wasn't a big fan of, but the way they link everything in, they tie everything together, I thought was really good. Now, this is a real proper conspiratorial type detective story or whatever, and there's a lot of different things at play and different revelations throughout the story, which I kind of enjoyed. I was trying to figure it out myself as well, which characters were kind of working for her, working against her. But I think this is something that we could actually see a lot of. Now, it could be that type of thing with the found footage genre where it kind of got oversaturated. But I think these types of, you could have investigative journalism in this thing. You could have like political, conspiratorial things and stuff like that. I think it would be a really good idea to introduce your movie in this sort of way.
So you're saying, it's only been used for like thrillers, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you want to do different genres.
Well,
like
you
comedy.
could do something maybe silly or whatever.
Okay.
You could do, you could do a comedy talk show or whatever. Yeah.
You could do a King of Comedy.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, I had a really good time. The acting is all pretty good. I don't think there's anyone that's any major names in it.
I had a look there. I didn't see anyone.
The main girl.
Ken Lund looks.
Yeah, he's a kind of bit of a character actor that
he's in Old, and he's in Saw, and he's in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and AI, and Rush Hour, and Inside Man. Who is this man?
He's just one of those character actors. You would have seen him. He's kind of in everything. But I will say the main girl, very good.
Storm Reid.
Yeah, she really carries it. She's literally on screen for the whole thing, so she does a good job. And yeah, fair play to the two guys, because obviously what happened is they obviously edited Searching, thought, this is a good concept, let's do our own thing with it. They obviously got some good writers on board. Story's pretty good, but definitely worth a watch. And I had a good time. I think if you watch this at home, I think it could be a chance that you get a little bit sidetracked with your phone and stuff.
Yeah, you start thinking that's part of the movie.
Exactly, yeah.
You'd be like, wait, what was the part of the movie where I had to text my mom?
Yeah, exactly. So I did actually prefer that I watched this in cinemas, but like certainly really, really solid. I know this came out in January in America, so it's already kind of built its box office numbers. So, but I definitely can see this, being that type of thing, that type of genre or type of concept that they kind of build on. So yeah, worth a watch.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I have to watch that now.
No, well, all I will say is maybe you have Amazon Prime now. Maybe watch Searching first.
Yeah,
my sister has seen it too, and she said Searching's very similar. So see what you think of Searching.
Do you think they're going to keep picking names where it's just like searching, missing, can't find that, lost and found?
Lost, yeah. I was going to say the Beau, you done Lost.
And then I think they do have to do the YouTube crossover. Still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of not finding what you're looking for,
go for it.
Validation from David that Beau is Afraid is a good movie. Let's talk about Beau's Afraid.
Yeah.
So Beau's Afraid, me and David haven't talked about this yet, and it's a very divisive movie online, but I also maybe assume between myself and David you're gonna find out at the same time I find out, although this was recorded on Sunday, so if on Tuesday David's missing, you know why. No, so Beau's Afraid, I don't even
why
know
would you wait 2 days?
No, because you'll be missing on Tuesday,
okay,
and then they'll be like, where's David? And then this will release because of some reason I won't have edited me killing you
okay, yeah.
out of the podcast.
You wouldn't have gotten rid of that.
No, I would have done my David impression for the rest of... I have hours of footage of you talking. I can find something there. But no, Beau's Afraid. David is afraid now. No, Beau's Afraid is a movie by Ari Aster, who people would know for directing Midsommar and Hereditary, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix and another great other cast members who I'll talk about later. But basically it is just this deranged nightmare of a movie about Beau, who is our main character, and he is to visit his mother, and certain events occur that means he is delayed from that, and it's a spiraling series of events of him trying to get home to see his mother, because it's the anniversary of the father's death, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's just rushing to get home. But what we are treated to is, like I said, an anxiety-ridden and angst nightmare of, how do I even begin, of just a strange and weird and twisted series of events of nothing ever getting better for Beau, and just the movie taking twists and turns that you don't see. I loved this movie. I knew I could never recommend it to anyone else. And I had said and also I think why I maybe liked it probably better than David did, which I'm only assuming he didn't, because I just got a text from you after you'd seen it, and you enjoyed that, is because I'd watched Hereditary, wasn't a fan, and then I talked at length about Hereditary with my cousin Daniel. It's a great episode, people should go check it out, and he kind of won me over on certain elements of Ari Aster's directing, and when I kind of saw them in Hereditary, I was like, I know that, and I had maybe a bit more of appreciation of it.
No, in Beau is Afraid.
Sorry. But yeah, it's I don't even know where to begin. Like, how?
Okay, what I will say is, I think this is a good movie, but as you say, not for everyone.
No,
this is just...
when you told me Kira was going, I was like, get her out of there.
I said it to her on the way in. I was like, what are you doing here? So this is like, it's a great insight into the psyche of an individual dealing with like severe anxiety.
Yes,
and I think what's really good, especially completely throughout. Actually, what they do is they blend that line between like what is real, what is fantasy, and then like they have you questioning like which is which. Like, you can't really tell, especially with this character, because he obviously just thinks like the worst case scenario is the only one that's going to happen. it is a really, really good character study, because we see this character's present, we see elements of his past, but we also see maybe a look into his future, which I thought was quite good. And we can see a family dynamic as well, which I thought was quite interesting. My personal opinion is that it kind of lost me a little bit in the middle.
Yes.
I think there's a bit in the middle that really I didn't think was necessary. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. I think it does lend a lot, especially to Beau's character and stuff, and I do appreciate it. I just think, like, for a wider audience, if you cut that entire segment out, I think it makes the movie run a lot smoother and it's a lot more focused. The other thing is Ari Aster's, what would you say, his style is kind of shock horror and a little bit kind of on the edge, and some things just didn't land for me. There's a revelation at the end which just did not land for me at all.
What are my thoughts on that scene? I'm just so wrapped up in it that I'm so ready for anything, and I'm on board with anything at that point, because from a narrative sense, this movie makes no sense. Yeah. If you take this movie at face value, you're gonna get a headache of trying to make everything make sense. But it's what everything, and this sounds so wanky, and it's so unlike me, and it's so weird of me to like talk about the abstract. But if you kind of just take everything in what it's meant to represent throughout the whole movie, that's where it's genius. I'm not going to use that word, but that's where it worked for me, because the first 45 minutes is based off of a short movie called Beau. And it makes no sense. And it's just how you feel is what Beau is feeling. And that's the point. The director is trying to create feelings within you in what Beau is feeling in what are simple situations. Yeah. A simple situation of a stranger taking Beau in, and what's happening on screen is what Beau is fearful of happening. Yeah. But it's not actually like that. And I think that's the point of this movie. Yeah. It's like, those series of events are not happening, but Beau perceives it as that happening, and that's us looking at the situation through Beau's lens of what he's worried and fearful about, and afraid, I guess. But from a narrative point of view, if you try and understand it, you're just gonna your head's. But
that's what I'm saying. The balance, like they're blending of real life and fantasy.
Infuriating because there's no clear distinction.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love that about the movie. I love that at no point, and it's not a spoiler, at no point do we ever see outside of Beau's lens to kind of think either what he was seeing or wasn't seeing was real, or it was like here's actually what happened. Yeah. I'm not saying there's not an explanation at the end of the movie. I'm just saying we don't probably get the definitive answer that one would expect from a movie kind of that's, like you say, blurring the line like that. Okay, yeah.
Also, my another kind of issue I had with it is there's a character we meet at the end of the movie who is from Beau's past,
Patti LuPone,
who, unfortunately, we don't get a huge amount of we don't get a huge amount of visual actual representation of what his life was like back in the past. Yes. We set a very little sprinkling of it, actually introducing another character, but it's kind of irrelevant. The interaction between those two characters, we only really get one person's opinion of it.
Yeah,
but for me, I was just like, that's not your role. Like, what you're telling me is just like what every person in that position is supposed to be doing. Like, you feel like you're special because Beau, or whatever, did certain things, whatever. And I didn't really like that. Like, it's like it's totally against. Now, I think it makes sense, and it makes sense to Beau's character as to why he is the way he is.
Exactly.
Which again probably lends to the story, but it just came across very petty at the end, and I was just
that's fair. That's fair.
I was like, just grow up, like, stop whinging.
Stop being a whinge bag.
Stop being a whinge bag.
That's entirely fair.
Now, I do think as a work of art, very, very good. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And like I said, it's so. If someone turned around and said, I fucking hated that, I'd be like, that is entirely fair. Yeah. I so get that. Yeah. If someone says, I loved it, especially the bit at the end, I'd be like, I have questions about you. But like, another thing about this movie, 3 hours. Now, I saw this very early on in the day, so I was bright and ready to go. I got out of this movie with the rest of the day to do things. Yeah. You left the cinema at 11 p.m. Yeah. And I feel like this movie's not designed to watch into the late hours because but what I loved about it is there's like 3 hours but there's like 3 acts, and each act is
I would have said there was 4 acts.
There is actually. I was going to... But there's 3 segments, let's just say.
Yeah, okay.
And each segment is so distinct that you don't feel like you're dragging into the second hour of the movie. You feel like you're just beginning the beginning of the second hour, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think for that reason, I kind of like it. I completely get why you'd cut out that second bit, but I have thoughts we can talk about off air about it. Just it's not too spoilery. But look, what else is good about it? I think about it. Joaquin Phoenix, incredible. Yeah. Like the man. Like what more do you want? Like he's great in it. But
I was just gonna say he like. It's almost like a distress performance. Yeah. Just like he's constantly just on the edge and just like
he's afraid, Dave.
Yeah.
But also I think, like I said, Paddy LaPone, incredible. Amy Ryan, great. Yeah. What's his face? Nathan Lane, great job as well.
How you doing, kiddo?
Like he's great. He's great. It's such a mindfuck of a movie, and I went to a screening of it with a lot of people who appreciated the jokes.
Yeah.
In that they knew what was funny, they knew what was scary, and they laughed at the right time. And I know that seems so fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Up my own hole. Pretentious, yes. But I just went with the people who just fucking got it. And every time something funny happened, because anytime it could go bad for Beau, it goes bad.
Yeah.
And you could either think to yourself like, well, that's not realistic, or you'd be like, oh, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Which I think that's what I love this movie. It kept me on edge. And what I've learned from David, from having watched a shit ton of movies the last few years, is that I want a movie that makes me feel something. And I know there's movies that are like, oh, but they make you feel good with a nice, heartwarming, love story, or like, I don't know, this big thriller. But I want to feel scared, and I want to feel on edge, and I want to feel alive. And Beau is Afraid does that, because at every moment you're just not expecting what's coming next. And I had a great time. I kind of Beau's Afraid. Gary's a big fan.
Jesus, I'm gonna have to contact some services.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like it is a red flag. I like this movie.
Yeah. No, again, a little bit like with Fast X, you know what you're getting into with this director. So if you liked Hereditary, no one liked those movies. If you enjoy watching Hereditary or Midsommar, you'll enjoy watching this.
Funny, I don't like those movies. I love this.
Really? Okay.
100%. Because the shock horror elements of those two aren't really present in this. Like there's no gross. There's like 1 or 2 like gross things.
Yeah, I suppose.
But like,
was he trying to go for more comedy in this? I think
100% he was.
It wasn't that funny.
There is some funny scenes in it though.
Is there?
I don't know, the scene of all the people going into the apartment, like that's funny.
That's funny.
But that's what I mean. It's like you're fucked.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by comedy.
Yeah, okay.
That's my favorite type of comedy. Knowing someone else is about to have a bad time.
See, I'm too compassionate.
I'm a guy who likes to see a banana peel being like, some fucker's gonna fall on that.
I'm way too compassionate for that.
Exactly. Oh, that's what I mean. Kira would be the worst person.
Yeah.
Kira, David's girlfriend, not a gold digger. She's
that
the most,
we know of.
That we know of. She is like the most heartwarming, caring person. Which I feel like she was gonna have. I feel like she just wanted to give Beau a hug. Like 10 minutes is even too much. Like 2 minutes into this movie.
I knew a bit about 10 minutes and I was like, why are you here?
Leave. It was funny. I went to go see another movie that we'll talk about in just a sec, and we were going by.
You should have come in.
I was so good.
It was full.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Love to see it though.
Screen 9 though. Yeah.
I was gonna go in and be like, I was like, Kira, come on, get out of here, come on. Your car's double parked. Let's go.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah,
she could have just met you down the road in the pub.
She could have. Speaking of the movie I went to go see on that day, should we talk about that?
Yeah.
Or anything else? The Little Mermaid, David.
Okay, and you still don't know my thoughts on it.
I still don't know your thoughts. I know Kira's thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Spineless woman. 5 stars. Get over yourself.
I was saying to her that she should just start a new rating system of just 0 stars or 5 stars.
You can't do 0. You're going to do a half.
Okay, sorry, half or 5 stars.
Get away with your 5 stars on this. Is she saying that's as good as the King of Comedy?
Sorry, she went to see Beau is Afraid the day before.
That's incredibly fair. Spineless woman though.
Okay, so we all know the story of the Little Mermaid, whether it was the cartoon we watched back in the day, the Disney cartoon, or some of us read the book. So
some of us were cool, some of us were big nerds.
So a little bit of a confession to make: I've never seen the Little Mermaid.
Oh well, there you go.
I have read the book. So
wait, what?
Yeah, I read the book. And I would like to say that I had a delightful time with this.
I hate you so much.
I actually had a delightful time.
I hate you so much.
And I'm not going to say it's good, it's great. I think it's fine. And I think number one, it's interesting to come into these movies from the point of view having never seen the previous movie before. Whereas you know I hate Lion King because it's just a shot for shot remake, you know, in live action. Didn't particularly like Aladdin. I like that they tried to change it up a little bit more. But yeah, I actually had a fine time with this.
Just to finish the joke we were doing at the beginning of the podcast, but I would say it was going to be good with the visuals. The bright red I am turning down was from rage, not from the sunburn on my face. Okay. Now, what I will say, and I said this in my review, I think this is it's probably quite enjoyable if you haven't seen the original. But when you have, I think it's a balls movie.
Okay.
Would you care for me to expand?
Yeah, go for it.
So, when you said no, just end it. No, my biggest thing about this movie is the original was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
This movie is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay.
So, from a story perspective, they don't add much. They don't.
From what I've heard, they've added plenty, especially with the 2 leads.
Now, so my biggest thing is they've there's what 45 minutes of extra movie in this. What do they add? They add more depth and understanding of both Ariel and Eric, and you get to see more of them as a romantic couple. So it's more believable that they fall in love rather than the Disney thing of like the two of them. We hear they're going to be falling in love, they fall in love, whoop-de-doo. And I think nowadays people, from a live action point of view, are kind of like, that's balls. So that's good. But, and again, this is just my experience of having seen the originals. I kind of spent the movie going like, when are we getting to this bit? It takes like an hour for her to get up above. That's like the first 15 minutes of the animated movie. So a lot of the time I'm like, and also it was fucking gorgeous on Friday. It was like such nice weather, and I was like, I have to go into a dark room now. And I was kind of like already in not a bad mood, but I was already like, I can feel my face is beginning to burn. I wonder if I did get sunburned.
How many drinks in were you?
But like that's what I think. I think like I don't think enough. I still haven't made my mind up about it. I just remember watching the movie being like, this is not great. Because I just felt like it didn't do anything to distinguish itself from the original.
Yeah, okay, that's absolutely fair. And I like that would be my opinion.
Yeah,
I think coming from like, and I can understand, especially considering that I absolutely despise the Lion King. I really, really hate that movie.
Yeah,
like there's a character where they have the exact same actor playing him. Why are you doing this?
Quick wins.
But no, like personally, I think bad stuff first. The underwater stuff. Not as good as other movies that I've seen from studio stuff, but it's fine.
Yeah, and it hurts me to say this. I'm like, it's no Avatar: The Way of the Water, which does underwater so good.
Exactly. But again, this probably took about 2 years to make. That took like
far too long
12.
and too much money.
Exactly. Melissa McCarthy is Melissa McCarthy. I think she does a grand job. She's fine. See,
you haven't seen the original.
I know, but she's fine. She's doing an impression, I've heard.
Yeah, but like it's the bits where there's a bits of her, she's playing the menacing villain. Yeah, she's playing the, well, Ariel, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, whoopsie doopsie.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just like, that for me, I'm just like, fucking act, would you?
Yeah.
Also, I love that I didn't see her husband in this. He's not in it as far
There's
as
a husband.
What?
She has a husband.
David, are you for real?
I don't know this.
David.
I didn't know.
Now I'm going to kill you. Of course she has a husband. She puts him in every movie she's in.
Sorry, Melissa McCarthy. I thought you meant Ursula.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I was like, that doesn't seem like the woman that would have it.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. So like, I just felt like, and my biggest thing about Ursula is, you should have got a drag queen for it. The fact that she's inspired, the character's inspired by a drag queen. I think the drag queen was called Divine or something like that. Yeah. Get a drag queen. Get someone who's gonna fucking give it socks. Be a campy villain.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. Yeah. No, and I understand. I can understand where people would have come from that point of view. Now, number one, I think Halle Bailey is fantastic.
Very good.
Superstar.
Yeah.
The pipes on that woman. Great. I think your man, the kid that plays Eric, I think he's decent.
That song he sings.
He's great. I know you hate Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I don't hate Lin-Manuel.
Exactly. And I feel like that was kind of just thrown in there just for...
Yeah, there was 3 songs added.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a decent job.
The Uncharted song.
That's fine, like...
Bin it.
But their chemistry is great.
Yeah.
It's great.
It is. Their connection is like... I still think he's punching, but it's a case of...
Does he not look like Ryan Gosling to you? He reminds me of a young Gosling. Look it up.
The Gos?
Yeah, he looks like... Because he has that thing with his eye. Do you know like Gosling always goes around with like that lazy eye? Is he does.
Sorry, David, are you thinking about the guy who plays Columbo?
No, do you know what his eye?
Oh shit, I see it. I 100% see it now. Yeah. No, I see it. Yeah,
So,
I don't see the lazy eye, but I see him looking like the gods.
Yeah, exactly. No, I thought he was decent. I was gonna say Benicio. It's not Benicio.
Javier Bardem.
Javier, he's grand.
Fine. I hope he got paid like 50 million. I hope he got paid.
Out of all the people underwater, he looks the most obvious, like that he's on a soundstage.
See, but that's my thing about the underwater scenes. I think the art direction and the lighting is really bad for the underwater scenes.
I feel like it could be more colourful.
But see, it's really interesting as well because they were screening this in 3D as well, and a lot of the scenes are like, they feel like the early 2000s 3D movies where it's all like, look at this fish coming at you, and it's like the thing with The Hobbit where they purposely upped the saturation because they knew people would have to watch it through the glasses, and I feel like they've done the same with this. But when you watch, it's just too bright, and it's
no, but
jarring.
I didn't find it colourful though. The underwater, I would have liked more colour. No, I would have. There's the bit where you got his throne room is very dark, like it's very. Which I
think it was because I feel like you needed a bit more shadows to hide the bad CGI though. I think that's what I mean. I think you needed because it didn't.
But even
look
her
like
treasure room as well is really dark as well.
Oh, but like that's in the original though.
Okay,
it's meant to be like that.
No, fair. But yeah, I don't know. I could have done like if you're making an underwater world, I feel like it should have been more fantastical. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah.
Okay, but look, as I said, coming into this blind, I actually had a good time with it, and I can understand where you're coming from. You're like, what's the point in this? But if you're a kid watching this version, do you think you would find it better? If you're a kid watching this version for the first time, would you have enjoyed it?
So it's funny you mentioned that because I went back and watched the original songs, and it's funny to see how bland they are in like the visuals. Yeah. Because obviously it's animated. It's very limited to what they do.
Yeah.
But so there's a lot more kind of going on. These scenes are a lot more dynamic.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's just that Disney charm it's missing because obviously it's been associated for like 50 plus years of this. And also I think another big element about this movie is the expressiveness of live action animals. Because Sebastian in the original, very dynamic, same as Flounder, same as Scuttle. Yeah. Whereas in these, like the fact that they make, I understand why you didn't make them super cartoony, but like Flounder looks haunting. Like every time he was on screen,
I think that's why I think he was cut a lot.
He was cut a lot. Like he's barely in it. And Scuttle, first of all, seagulls talking underwater. What the fuck's that about? But also, like, sorry, I'm just a bit all over the place. This movie, like Awkwafina needs a new voice. Yeah, I feel I don't know. I'd
say you really enjoyed that rap.
It's funny. Lily, I went to go see it with Lily, and she went to the toilet. And she came back, and she was. Well, she was like, "What you miss?" And I was like, "You miss nothing." Nothing.
No, my last thing will be David Diggs. That man needs more work.
Now, what I will say as well is the guy who plays Sebastian originally is the guy who wrote a lot of the songs. I think his name is Samuel E. Wright or something, I think. Yeah. And he's like iconic. Yeah. David Diggs kills it. Yeah. And like the fact that it's a voiceover role in a character that is lacking the expression of the original.
Yeah. But that's why I felt he really brought something to it.
That's what I mean. I think
he
adds he adds an element to it, and he has a lot of quips in it that some people in the audience were laughing at, and I was like, shut up and make this movie finish. He needs more work 100%. I think him and Bailey were absolute standouts, and I think everyone else was fine.
Yeah, fair.
I also have two funny points about it if you'd like to hear them, or do you want to wrap up?
No, that's fine, go on.
Why is Ariel looking to go up on land, David? The sea is 70% of the earth. Global warming is coming for those land dwellers, David. She's going to be stuck with a pair of legs and not a lot of land to walk on, David. They're there in the water.
No, but this is back in the day. They didn't believe in it, or they didn't know about it.
Dude, there's a few people who don't believe in it now.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Also, it's really cute.
That was your perfect time to do your Tucker Carlson.
David, I can't do it. Tucker Carlson.
We'll lose our right wing audience.
Exactly. And my second thing is, it's nice to see two hoarders finding each other. They're big fucking hoarders. Yeah. And I understand that's another thing that's been added to it. It's like, he's a lot more adventurous and wants to see the world, and she's not collecting things because she's obsessed with the land so much as she's interested in discovery, and he's the same, and that's a new element that's been added that makes those characters believable. That
I really like that scene though, because like she's
they're going through maps together.
Yeah, but she's introducing like stuff from the sea to him, and like he's introducing stuff from the land to her.
I just think, and some of the editing I think was appalling as well.
I don't know.
There was something, and then also the under the sea thing I didn't like at all. Because in the original you have the actual, there's like, and now the sea turtles playing drums, and it's some things like that. I think
Jeremy John saying that.
There's some things lost on it. It was just like, it was weird watching it at the time, where it was just like they were trying to make the animals do like dance, but it just didn't feel like, there's something weird about it.
But I think that's an issue with the live action CGIs, and it's when you're trying to translate an animated movie into live action. It's a big issue. Yeah. It's, you could say that about all the live action remakes, but
I liked Aladdin. Controversial take.
No, yeah, look, that's fair.
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, exactly. Lock, stock.
Yeah.
No, and I can understand if people do enjoy it, but like if you are remaking these movies, put something different in there. Put a little bit of extra in.
And that's what I mean. I wanted another story element in it. I wanted like something, because they do change some things at the. This is not too much of a spoiler, but at the end of the first one, there's a wedding. Sorry, the end of the original, there's a wedding, and Ariel goes to interrupt the wedding. Whereas in this, it's like a proposal party, which is kind of cool, because it's like it's taken away that whole like Disney fairy tale, they always get married at the end kind of thing. But also, it kind of robs. I think it was Jeremy Jams talking about this, where it robs the whole like you need to get there quickly to stop the wedding. Whereas in this one, it's kind of like
a setting.
Yeah. So they do make some changes, but it's like I kind of knew like this needs to happen, and this happens, and then this happens, and this happens.
Yeah.
But I spent the whole movie being like, it's an hour and a half in, and we haven't even got to this bit yet. I don't know. I think I was just kind of like.
But that's the thing. You're going in with the expectation
of
like that. This this is a 90-minute cartoon.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So but it's always like no matter what movie they remake, like if you've seen it before.
I had a great time with Aladdin.
Yeah, well, I feel like they've changed enough in that.
But that's what I liked about that.
Yeah.
Like Aladdin, they made those story changes where you were like, oh, what could happen in a way. Whereas
I can't really talk from that point of view with this movie. I can't talk from other ones. I could talk from other ones. Yeah. So, but I can't.
No, that's fair. I was just that was my problem with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because Lily gave it 2 stars as well, so I felt justified.
Yeah. Has she seen the first? She's seen the original.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
There we go. Right, shall we talk about the June movies?
Oh, can't wait.
I love June 1, and I can't wait for June Part 2 with Timothée Chalamet.
So much spice.
So yeah, okay. We've this coming Friday.
Oh yeah,
we have got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Do you want me to list them all and then we'll talk to them first? Or
you can just go list them.
Yeah. And then next week we've got...
no. I keep forgetting which ones are out. Just we'll do it one by one.
So this coming Friday we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The first one was excellent.
Yeah.
I have kind of avoided as much as I can about this. I don't want to know anything about it going in.
I haven't seen any earlier reviews. I don't know if you have.
No, I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
Look, I'm apprehensive. I know it's a part 1.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
This is the thing, because it was initially called something part 1.
Part 1, okay.
So I'm going in knowing it's a part 1er. So I'm like
Fast X.
a bit of a Fast X. I'm kind of like embracing myself to not be resolved.
Yeah.
What I'm expecting from this? Great voice cast, funny jokes, great animation.
I'm a little bit worried because I've seen that trailer, that most recent trailer, and I feel like it's giving away too much.
That's why I've stopped watching the trailers. I'm a bit worried about it.
No, but it came on in the cinema. What can I do? Oh no! Look, if you can't see me, I can't see you.
Then next week we've got Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
I enjoyed Bumblebee.
I enjoyed Bumblebee. Anthony Ramos is in this. It must be good.
It must be.
Who's directing this?
What was that movie he was in?
In the Heights?
In the Heights. There, yeah. Lin-Manuel.
Yep. Who is directing?
Gary, you've got another shade of red.
Lust, David. I don't hate him, I fancy him. It's one of those things where you're just like, oh, I hate that person. It's like, cool, they were asking about you. Really?
Really?
Who is directing Rise of the Beasts?
I don't think it's anyone
Stephen
big,
Capel Jr., who did Creed 2.
What has happened to your man who did Bumblebee? Knight? Stephen Knight?
Travis Knight.
Travis Knight. He's Phil Knight's son. You know that?
Phil Knight.
The guy who owns Nike.
Fuck off.
Yeah, he is.
What?
Yeah. He did Kubo and the Two Strings.
I see that there. And another movie called Wildwood.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like,
what the fuck? How do they pick people who do the Transformers movies there?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Madness. Anyway, look, the trailer looks... There's a cool one shot in it.
Yeah.
I'm interested vaguely in it.
The biggest thing about it is the Transformers now seem to be like a little bit more distinguishable.
Yeah, and they're a bit more animation accurate as well. So like they don't look as chunks of metal like the Michael Bay movies did.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm quietly looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh no.
What?
Oh, David, I'm actually really upset. So there's a movie coming out the same weekend that I was trashing for weeks. It's called Strays. It's about dogs, but it's like R-rated and all the dogs curse.
Oh.
It looks balls. It's got Will Ferrell, so you know it's bad. It's got Jamie Foxx, Will Forte, Isla Fisher,
Is this
Randall
coming
Park.
out on Netflix?
No, I think it's coming to cinemas. Now,
wow.
this is in America. I think I'm pretty sure it's coming out in Ireland this weekend, but probably not going to be in many cinemas.
Yeah.
And Josh Gad's in it as well, Rob Riggle. It's like all the people who are like in shit comedies all the time. I just found out who it's directed by, David. Josh Greenbaum.
I don't know the name.
He directed Barb and Star Go to Visit
Oh,
Del Mar.
mate.
I'm actually so upset. I'm going to have to see it now.
You probably would have said that looks shit before you see it.
No, I knew that was magical. This is another chance I'll take to tell people to go see Barb and Star. Who wrote it? It's the first movie this guy's written.
Ooh. Has he written any TV or comedy?
He has written. He's a TV writer. He wrote. What? Oh, it's the same guy who wrote American Vandal. He's the creator of American Vandal.
Oh, hey, that sounds good.
Have I just hyped myself up for this movie? He's a guy. He did a lot of the college humor stuff. He does honest trailers.
You've done a full
Screen Junkies.
180 on this.
David, this is the movie of the month. Okay, Strays. I'm on board for it now.
I didn't even know about this.
David, and then the week after.
Yeah.
No hard feelings.
Oh.
This looks great. Lily recently asked, she's like, Gary, I can't tell if you're joking. Another trailer came out for this.
I didn't watch
I'm
it.
so on board with this movie.
Watch it.
I've no idea
so
why.
impressed.
Mark, my housemate, and your good friend, my friend as well, I don't know how to qualify as that. I told him, I was like, that looks like my type of movie. And he turned around and he goes, does it?
Exactly, yeah.
My brain is broken, and this movie I'm just so on board with. I think it's the role Jennifer Lawrence was born to play. She looks great in it. The kid is so basically it's about this movie of
There's a Gary.
There's a character called Gary in it. There's these two parents basically take out a Craigslist ad or whatever, and it's like, hey, if you quote unquote date our son, we'll give you a car. And Jennifer Lawrence has to quote unquote date their son, but the son makes it very difficult because he's such a fucking nerd.
He's such a dweeb.
And she's just like, let me ride you so I can get a car. And it just looks like a really fun time.
Yeah.
It could be so balls, but my God, has it got my hopes up. I don't know why.
How long is it?
Not long enough, David. I tell you, if this is like, David, I swear to God right now, if this is an hour and 36 minutes, this is going to win movie of the month. And look, it's a close, with Strays as a close second. David, there's no official runtime.
Oh no!
But my God, like if that's an hour 36, David.
Yeah, because I couldn't see it being more than an hour 50. Like, I can't see enough of a storyline there.
No, there's no screen line.
Yeah.
Look, I think
it looks good.
I think this is exactly the type of movie Jennifer Lawrence needs. Get away from all the drama shit.
Yeah.
Get away from Red Sparrow. Get away from Mother. Get away from
But she likes her, man.
unlike Beau. This is the movie she was known for comedy.
Yeah.
This is the comedy movie. I'm a big fan of it.
I really enjoyed that first trailer we've seen. Yeah.
And the choice people have is either watching that or watching Extraction 2.
Yeah, my sister liked Extraction 1 and she's looking forward to Extraction 2.
I haven't seen the trailer for Extraction 2 either.
Yeah, I don't care.
Cool. Moving on. This is a great month. Next weekend, 2 movies coming out. The Flash.
Oh, sorry, that's how you meant next.
Sorry, this is the 23rd of June.
Yeah.
The Flash and Asteroid City. What a weekend.
That's
a
looking
double
forward
bill.
to Asteroid City?
No, but well, no, like look, it's
I seen that trailer. It was on before Beau.
Am I excited for Asteroid City? I'm excited for either of those movies. I definitely want to watch both of them.
Would you? Okay, if you
there you go.
If you were offered a role in a Wes Anderson movie, like, does that mean you have like a job for life?
No. Look at Luke Wilson.
But like, is he not like best friends with him?
Yeah, how many movies has he been in recently?
Yeah, he's probably doing something for him though, writing or something.
Maybe. I know his Roman Coppola does all the writing. He's one of his best mates.
Yeah. He just seems like a nice bloke.
Wes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was at Cannes.
I feel like to be getting all those actors, like the fact that he's finally roped Tom Hanks in.
Yeah.
Like it's like he always just seems to get top tier talent. So
yeah. Like, I mean, surely the likes of Scarlett Johansson and stuff, like they have
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, exactly. They have other things they could be doing.
Does she though? Because she burned Disney recently, and like
yeah, but like surely you're putting her name on your movie.
She a box office draw?
She would be.
Really? Ghost of the Shell, Lucy.
Come on, Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost of the Shell, Lucy, and Black Widow are like movies she has led recently that have not done well. You could say her, but she's not like on the poster.
I still wouldn't say they are like big box office draw movies.
That's what I mean. I don't think you could like.
Plus, she's still living off that Avengers bank. Like, she doesn't need to work.
Also, Marriage Story and Jojo Rabbit.
I'm sorry, we've just picked out Scarlett Johansson. There's a load of people in that movie.
Will
like,
I list it?
Yeah, well, you don't have to list everyone, but like, there's a load of people in it.
So basically, it's a movie about world-changing events spectacularly disrupt the itinerary of Junior Stargazer Space Cadet Convention in an American desert town circa 1955. Such a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
It's got everyone. It's got Maya Hawke, Scarlett Johansson, Sophie Lillis, Margot Robbie, Jason Schwartzman, Tony.
Margot Robbie's in this.
That's what it says.
Jesus, there you go.
Anyway, it's got a stacked cast. Ed Norton, Adrian Brody, Bryan Cranston, Steve Carell, who else? Matt Dillon, Willem Dafoe, Tilda Swinton, Jeffrey Wright, Jeff Goldblum, Stephen Park. A lot of people are in it. Yeah, I don't really know what it's about. It's probably going to be very stylistic. I'd say Wes Anderson is annoyed that everyone's doing a weird trend of making his movies.
Actually, he would surely love that.
I think it's taking the piss of him though, isn't it?
Oh, come on, like.
Well, it's kind of saying like your substance of a director could be replicated by AI.
No, but I've seen people do it. Like, there's a guy who travels around Ireland, this American guy, and he's doing it. He's like making Wes Anderson style movies in like small towns in Donegal.
Fair.
So I'd be
flattered.
Pretty proud. Yeah, flattered.
There you go. The Flash.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It's what more is there to be said about it?
Could be terrible.
Could be great.
But it could be great.
Definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Trailers are giving away too much.
Some of that CGI is muck.
Don't care.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's just so bad.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then last movie of the month, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
What was it you said? You're going to be so proud in this.
I just said,
be so smug.
I'm going to be so smug. I've been fighting with my father about this movie.
Why did this come out in Cannes?
I reckon it was a whole thing of like India, because everyone, all the people who like are important in Hollywood at this age, the age, kind of remember when Indiana Jones came out, and that was a big movie, and like that's the icon of action movies in the 70s or whatever. So like to know this is Harrison Ford's definitive last time out, they're like, fuck it, let's try and ramp up some Oscar buzz about this. 100%. That's what they did at Cannes. Yeah. And then they didn't make it as that type of movie, and then people at Cannes were just like, what is this? There is no abstract. Yeah, exactly. It's like where's the sort of scene where you have to, I don't know. It's like,
come on, finish the joke.
I don't know. There's no subject of camera movements. There's just a man with a hat and a whip.
Qu'est-ce que vous allez?
There's not even. I'm desperately trying to think of a joke we did at the beginning of the podcast. I don't know. There's no big ball going through Rome.
Where is his mother?
Yes.
Why does he have no relationship with his mother?
Où est le maire?
Yeah, I'm sorry. If there's anyone listening from Cannes, can we have an invite next?
Oh, please! Thank you so much. We know a great Irish pub.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, I'm excited. To see
I just thought this didn't look great, and then when the reviews came out, and then my dad thinks it's going to be the biggest movie of the year, and I kept telling him no, and then the reviews came out and it's bad, and I'm like, see, old man, gotcha.
You know nothing.
You don't know nothing. And then it's going to make $1 billion, and he'll be able to. He'll be like, he won't even shove it in my face. He'll just be like, did that movie make $1 billion? And I'm like,
so passive aggressive. Yeah. No, I don't know. I thought it looked good. I know you were saying the musical cues probably had a lot to do with that. But yeah, it's
James Mangold's an incredible director.
Yeah, I was more for his sake. I kind of wanted him to keep that role going because he's been on a good role.
Ford vs Ferrari.
Yeah, since Logan.
Yeah. The Wolverine. Girl Interrupted. 310 Yuma. He did something else big recently as well. Anyway, great director. Love him. But yeah, that's June. Anything in particular there? I know what it is for me. It's Strays and No Hard Feelings. Big time.
Interested to see Spider-Verse. Hopefully continues that kind of that momentum.
Yeah. There you go. Speaking about good momentum, let's end the podcast
right now. Let's hit this wall.
Yeah. David, thank you so much for coming over and doing this. I very much appreciate it. And I also want to thank anyone who's listened to this or any of the other episodes. If you would like to keep up to date with the podcast, you can follow @Reeling in the Piers on Instagram. You can follow the TikTok to get the clips. There's also the full episodes go up on YouTube as well. You can follow either myself or David on Letterboxd with the links in the episode description. You can also contact the podcast at readingthepeers@gmail.com. You can also subscribe and follow on Spotify and Apple. Be sure to give us 5 stars, or even if you think it's like a 4 or 3, give us 5. And if you have any other suggestions, be sure to stick them in the Q&A. And that's about it.
It's time to go pray, Gary.
No, I do that in the morning, David.
No.
I didn't. Oh, I meant to do all my gold digging, David.